Hey everybody, this is Robert Burke, and I'm going to do something a little bit different here on my channel, my very small channel. But as you know, I have backed a lot of games on Kickstarter, tabletop games specifically, not video games. I've designed many games. Some of them I've gone through traditional publishing routes, but I've also kickstarted a bunch of games both on my own as kind of like a sole proprietor, one-man show, but also, in combination with other designers and or publishers to kind of work as a team to get a tabletop product to market. But for this video series, I want to go through more as a consumer. I do back a lot of games, and I want to kind of just speak out loud as I'm going through tabletop game projects to kind of speak about what captures my attention, right? So the goal here is, hopefully, if you are creating tabletop games and you're kickstarting them or plan to kickstart them, I'm hoping by speaking off the top of my head on what I'm looking for, the things that catch my attention, things I like, things I don't like, that it will help you create your own Kickstarter projects and help you be more successful. That's really the goal of this series, to kind of just speak again off the top of my head so you can kind of look into the brain of Kickstarter backers that are out there. Once you click that launch button, your project's going out to hopefully thousands and thousands of people who will be looking at it. Now, obviously, the size of the crowd that you bring to Kickstarter really is what determines how successful your project is. The bigger your name gets, the more you're associated with quality, the size of the crowd that you have. Those are really the biggest things that are going to determine how successful you are. But even if you don't have a huge crowd, even if you haven't published games in the past, there are many first-time creators, second-time creators that are successful with Kickstarter because they do things the right way. So I'm going to hopefully highlight the things that I see that are very good that you should incorporate into your Kickstarter campaigns, and also point out the things that maybe turn people off, that make them decide not to click that back button, right? To support that pledge button to support your project. Also, hopefully it will give tips for you if you are a Kickstarter backer who's interested in backing tabletop games on Kickstarter, but maybe you don't really have much experience and you want to avoid the pitfalls. There are definitely danger signs on certain projects. I'm hoping that I can teach you what to look for that might be red flags on games that you probably shouldn't be backing because they're too risky. Either the quality of the game, I think, might be a risk for you, or maybe even delivery. As you know, there have been Kickstarter games that have successfully funded and have never delivered. So I'll try to point those things out to you. Now, obviously, I'll make mistakes too. I've backed plenty of games who came through that I did not end up enjoying. But that might have more to do with me and what I like than the actual game itself. Then there's games that come through, maybe the component quality was horrible. It was clearly not play tested. I've made those mistakes as well. And those mistakes are really more on the creators. So even though, I'm going to try to show all the warning signs to you and show you the positive things that I see, it's really, there's still going to be times where you get stuff that you don't like. But there's going to be surprises too. There's going to be great surprises where maybe you were expecting a game to be fun and it turns out to be one of your favorite games. Now that's really why I use Kickstarter and back projects, for those moments where you get a game that ends up being just incredible. Especially when it, hits really big and then you all of a sudden have a game that is going to a reprinting and everybody's waiting for the reprint, and really only the Kickstarter backers have the copy to start, and they start selling for, way more money on eBay, for example. That stuff seems to happen for the really great games as well. I don't recommend, trying to use Kickstarter as your own personal, investment site. You don't want to be buying games and hoping to sell them for more money later. That's a very dangerous game to play, but I know there's some people that do that. So I'm here at the tabletop game section. When you come in here, it's going to be filtered by magic. I don't think Kickstarter's even really disclosed what their algorithm is to determine what magic means. It might have to do with how popular the projects are, maybe in funding and the number of click-throughs, that kind of thing. I'm not really sure how it works. If anybody knows, I'd love you to post that in the comments. But it tends to put some of the better projects or perceived better projects on the top by default, right? So if you happen to be in the top here when you filter by magic, that's good, because the chances of somebody clicking on your project, and if it's the top 9 here, is much better than if you're way down on the bottom. You actually have to load more. Somebody to scroll all the way down and load more projects. It's, the lower down your project is, the less people that are going to be seeing it, the less people that are going to be clicking on it. And the less money you're going to raise. That's just the way it is. It's just like a Google search result. If you search for a product on Google, it's those people who end up on the top of the list who get more eyeballs, and thus they're going to do better. But we don't really know. I don't really know what the magic formula is. You'll see right now there are currently 210 tabletop game projects on Kickstarter at the moment. You can filter other ways here. I usually like to filter by popularity. So this really just comes down to, how many backers is that project getting. So you'll see number 1 right now, the project with the most popular project right now is Deception Undercover Allies. This is an expansion for Deception Murder in Hong Kong. Now, in full disclosure, I do publish games with Gray Fox Games. They've published a few of my games. I've partnered with them on games. It's a fantastic company. Deception Murder in Hong Kong is an excellent game, and that's why it's doing so well. People love the game, so there's a lot of players that are looking forward to that expansion. So, then they have a really good track record. So that's why they're probably doing the best on Kickstarter right now. There's only 6 hours to go in this project as I'm looking at it. So that is another reason why this is number 1. There's always going to be a lot of backers when a project first hits, and there's going to be a lot of backers at the end of the project in those final hours. Because if I like a game, let's say for example, Rise of Tribes, these top 3 look good to me. Rise of Tribes looks really good. Just graphically, just talking about the image. And that's something as a Kickstarter backer that is really very important. That image has to catch people's eye. If it doesn't, or if the art looks horrible, let me scroll to the bottom and find something that maybe does not look as good so I can show you what I mean. That looks fantastic. Grove, that artwork looks fantastic. Very good. This, for example, the Midderlands. This is not an image that is good looking by any stretch of the imagination. It does not show the product. It does not show, even a mock-up of what the product is going to look like. It's just some text in a font that's not even that interesting. It's the colors is just green on green. So when I read it, it says a Midderlands, an OSR mini setting, and bestiary. So clearly it's probably some kind of book for I don't even know what OSR. I would assume maybe it's some kind of role-playing thing. A green-hued dark fantasy old school mini setting and a bestiary set in blank. But just looking at this image, like if it's a bestiary, maybe an image of the artwork of the beasts that are going to be included in that bestiary would be more attractive. This does not inspire me to click. and look to see what this project is about, right? If I go up to the top of these good projects, you could see that is a fantastic image here. This is a great image here. You know, this is handcrafted game terrain. That's not my market. I don't do a lot of role playing anymore, and I definitely don't invest in this kind of extreme setups. But that's a great image. It shows you what you're getting. If I'm a role player, I want to have a game with something like that, right? So that's why these, you know, Dwarven Forge is a very well-known company. They've had very big Kickstarter successes. But that image tells me all I need to know about what it is. This is also fantastic. Like Deception, that's not really that impressive, actually. It's just the graphic, you know, it's just the title of the game there. I mean, it's fine. Deception Murder in Hong Kong has such a big following and has been so successful. They don't really need anything that looks more like this, that shows the whole product with a cool graphic behind it, right? This, I don't know. I'm not that familiar with Breaking Games, but you'll see they're doing actually better than Deception, money-wise. So let's click on this. I know nothing about this game, but the image was so good that's the reason I would click through. I mean, the box looks good. The artwork looks good. Rise of Tribes, that sounds pretty interesting to me. Lead your prehistoric tribe to victory through discovery, achievement, civilization, and overcoming the odds. Choose how you rise. So that sounds pretty interesting. So for somebody who is interested in civilization building, right, growing a tribe up and getting more advanced, that's what it sounds like to me. I know nothing about the game, but that's what it seems to be. Their goal was only $10,000. They've raised $272,000. Now, a $10,000 goal for a larger box game, that is a little concerning to me, because there's no way that you could print a game. I'm not sure how big this is, but it looks like a bigger box game. It might not be. I'll have to look at the components here. But if this is a big box game, $10,000 is not enough to print and distribute that game, right? So I'm going to want to be sure that this creator, you know, if they only raised $10,000, would they be able to deliver? So I'm going to look and see, Breaking Games, this is their first created game, right? So, fantastic. They have blown through their goal. And since they've done that, since they've raised $272,000, they should have no trouble creating this game and distributing it to their 4,073 backers. It will end up with more backers than that. But if this project was only raising $10,000 or $12,000 and it was their first created game, I would be very, very concerned. It would be a risky move to back this game, because this game is going to cost, you know, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 to manufacture and ship, you know, to get back to the United States if it's printed in China. And then to fulfill the game, meaning packing it up and shipping it out to all the backers, is a very big expense as well. So I would want to make sure that Breaking Games is led by somebody who had the financial wherewithal to put their own money in if they only met this $10,000 goal and not more, right? So that is a key component you need to look for. If it's their first game and their goal is low, you are in risky territory. All right, but they've blown through their goal, so that's not as big a concern. So after seeing the game, it definitely has some cool mechanics. It's a 2 to 4 player board game. You're a prehistoric people looking to grow in number, gather resources, and lead your tribe to victory, build villagers, discover advancement, control territories to win. It's 30 to 60 minutes, ages 10 and up. 30 to 60 minutes is a great time. That's people are really kind of looking for that. So again, based on this description, it looks like this is it's a tile placement game with some kind of cool, unique dice mechanic where you're building civilizations to gather resources and do things. So if you like that kind of game, You will like that. Here they kind of bold a unique dice pushing mechanic to activate 2 actions per turn. You will choose to grow, move, gather, or lead. So, it's kind of nice that they highlighted that text, right? Because board gamers, tabletop gamers, unique mechanics are definitely something that gamers are looking for, right? They don't want the same old thing. They don't want just an updated version of a game that already exists and does it very well already. They're looking for something new and something unique. So, this bolding this, there's a unique dice pushing mechanic. That's something that is going to grab my attention even more, right? I'm going to want to look into that. Then they have the USA friendly shipping, Canadian friendly shipping, European friendly shipping, Australian friendly shipping. Now, USA friendly shipping, I'm not sure what that is, but outside of the United States, it's very important. Maybe they're not from the United States. Maybe that's why it says USA friendly. Let me see where they are. I'm going to look at Breaking Games. Nope, they're from New Jersey. My name is Shari Spiro. I'm the CEO and founder of Ad Magic and Breaking Games. We print custom tabletop games, custom cards, and many other custom and printed items. We specialize in Kickstarter clients. So even though this is their first project, and remember I said I would be concerned if they had only raised their goal, and this was their first created project, when you go in and actually look at them, it's the CEO of Ad Magic. Ad Magic is a manufacturer, so I'm sure they can manufacture this game on their own. That's a huge plus. Ad Magic is the company that makes Cards Against Humanity. I know that. So this is a company that definitely has the financial wherewithal. So that's why their goal was so low. So that takes that worry completely out of the equation for me. I would have no concern about getting this game. So now what's in the box? You can see very nice graphics to show you exactly what you're getting. The standard of the MSRP is $50. If you Kickstart it, you're getting it for $39, right? That's great. That's what a lot of Kickstarters want to see that. They want a better price on the game than they would pay MSRP. Or another way you can go is, if you offer exclusives, that the only way you can get that exclusive is to back the game on Kickstarter. That can help you raise more money as well. So you're going to save money if you Kickstart this. It shows you, the meeples that you get, the hex tiles. There's only 15 of them. It's not a lot. Tokens, different tokens that you're going to get, and a lot of meeples. So it doesn't look to be an excessive amount of components, but they seem to be pretty nice. Players seem to have an action board, arrowhead score discs, a whole bunch of dice, right? So this is a big box game. When I looked here, it looked pretty small, but as you kind of scroll down, you can see there's a whole lot more in this game. All these dice, all the tokens, the goal cards, 15 goal cards per player, event cards, 16 unique hero powers on 8 leader power cards. So that tells me that there are, this is a game where each player has special unique powers, which is something that I'm a big fan of and lots of gamers are a fan of. 8 player boards. So that tells me right off the bat that this game only goes up to 4, but there's 8 different player boards. So that is going to extend the replayability because there's different players that have different powers, unique powers. So, I'm always going to have some different combination when I play this game. So that speaks to replayability, which is really good. The lands hex tiles, the artwork, you'll notice the artwork is very well done. The graphic design, very well done. So this project is very professionally done. They also have a deluxe edition. So the deluxe edition is a great thing these days on Kickstarter. I did a project called Battle for Souls that I successfully funded on Kickstarter. And when I did the second edition on Kickstarter, I did a deluxe edition. And I sold that game for $100 on Kickstarter. And I sold more of those than even the standard edition. A lot of gamers, I think, especially gamers that use Kickstarter, want all the stuff. They want all the shiny things. They want the upgraded components. That stuff is very, very expensive, but gamers will pay for that stuff. So I think it's great to offer gamers who want really blinged out deluxe edition games. It's good to offer them that. As long as you can raise enough money to pay for the printing both versions, I think it's a really good idea. So you'll see here for $60 you can get the deluxe edition, and now you get a wood mammoth figure is added with the standard token. So along with the tokens, you get these nice wooden pieces, and I assume that they go with them probably, or go instead of them. You use the upgraded ones instead of the punch-out tokens, maybe. I'm not sure. But basically all the stuff on the right, you're seeing all these wooden pieces. You're going to get that upgrades your game to the deluxe edition. And it says there's 90 wooden pieces. Nothing is removed from the standard game, so I'm assuming these nice pieces just replace these tokens, but you have those tokens anyway, which you would never need, but you get them. Limited editions. So these are kind of like custom art posters, dinner games with the CEO at Gen Con. Yeah, I could see somebody going for that, right? So, some people want to pay for that. The artwork, yeah, you could sell. I've done posters. I can tell you this though, they are pain in the behind, right? This company's probably better set up to fulfill that kind of stuff, since they, are already a manufacturer and are shipping stuff out all the time. So this is probably easier for them to do. But if you're an individual, I would recommend highly not doing posters and t-shirts or mugs. It adds a lot of work, right? So unless you're a company that has people working for you that can help do that stuff, you're going to be tying up a lot of your time for very little return, right? You're not going to make much, if anything, on that kind of swag. Now here, he's getting a great deal more, $150, $400, or $12.50. So they've got the profit built into these tiers, and they'll probably sell those. First print exclusives. So they're also having exclusives. So if that kind of tells you that, hey, you want this free promo terrain, we're only going to include this in the first run copy. So he's not saying that this is only for Kickstarters. It's going to be included in the first run copy. So if they do a second print run, the expectation here is that promo terrain will not be included. So by getting a first edition, you're getting something that a second, third, fourth edition will not have. Right. But this is not a Kickstarter exclusive. This will go into every copy, I assume, that they're printing in the first edition. So that's kind of smart. I actually haven't really seen that before, because some people are against Kickstarter exclusives. They don't like them at all. But by doing a first edition exclusive, that means that anybody who didn't get it in the Kickstarter will still get the exclusive stuff if they buy a first edition copy of the game. That's pretty cool. And it also might, help drive, backers to click that, back this project button. Free promo terrain. So again, they've got some other things in here for the first run copies of the game. Exclusive add-ons. If you want to drive more your final backing number up, then you can add exclusive add-ons. These seem to be pretty significant ones. Saber-tooth tiger dice rolling trays that hold the dice. They look like they're wood. Carved items hold your components. An area to roll your dice. So very cool, but very high end and very expensive. So I would not recommend that unless you have somebody who does this kind of work and can commit to having a certain number of them done for you. So hopefully So the fact that this is an add-on kind of scares me. I don't know if these are these real hand carved, or it doesn't say. I don't see. White ash. Dice rolling trays. Items shipped separately from the game. So maybe they've contracted somebody who can deliver a lot of these dice rolling trays, hopefully. Hopefully it's not just some guy that's carving them one by one, because that could lead to a lot of delay. But it does say it's shipping separately, so it would not hold up you getting your game, which is a good thing. But I would want to see more information on these. You can only get this custom Rise of Tribes piece through this campaign. Everybody will want to play Rise of Tribes when they see this hanging on your game room wall. Just add the price of the add-on you want to your current tier. When the surveys are sent, we'll ask you which ones you purchased. So really it doesn't tell you how they're made, who's making them. I can't even really see. They look nice, but I'd want more information before I spend that much money. How to play. Roll 2 dice. This is a nice looking how to play. Kind of graphically walks you through step by step how a game turn would work. Very cool idea. Hopefully there's a gameplay video in here too. Roll 2 dice. Select 2 of 4 actions. So you got 4 actions here. You select 2 of them. Take one of the rolled dice and slide it in the left. The right one is removed. That's the cool new mechanic. And they've got a nice little graphic here that shows you how that works. That's very excellent. The combination of the dice determine the strength of the action. So if you've got 2 moons here, down here you can see you can move 2. All right, that is very cool. So I roll my dice, I figure out which 2 actions I can do, I place my dice, and the other 2 move over. So if I rolled a moon, I'd probably want to put it here, and then I would get 3 moons, and maybe that is something cool. Or maybe not. I can't see the whole thing here, but I'm getting the gist of how this works, and I like it very much. And I think gamers will like that as well, because I roll the dice, which is a random thing, but now I can choose where I place my dice, and I have 4 different areas I can place them, and I'm trying to find the most efficient combination. So what I roll might dictate what I do that turn, right? Or maybe I really need to do one of these actions, and I need to choose it no matter what. I don't know. But I really like this idea, and I can see why this Kickstarter is doing so well. 2 moons allows you to move up to 2 tribe members, 1 space. So that's how you move around the different hexes. Build new villages to earn points. So that's how I'm scoring points, is building villages. I guess that's one of the actions, is build maybe. Create developments and accomplish new achievements to gain points. All right, so if I control those 3 types of hexes, I score an extra points. Cool. The first player to 15 points wins. So you play until you get to 15 points and it's over. So that's how they probably keep that time limit down to 60 minutes, which is also fantastic. The rule book is here. I've linked to the rule book. Fantastic. That's excellent. You've got to do that. If you are putting a game on Kickstarter, you have to do that. You have got to put your rule book on so people can look at it. So I'm going to download it here and take a look and see what it looks like. If you are, I think I'm going to back this game just because it looks great. But if you are on the edge, if you're not sure if you want to back it or not, you can come in and look. The rule book looks fantastic. It's laid out very well. Just looking at the examples and the graphic design, and it's very legible, very well done. There's a bunch of variants in here, which is very nice. The the artwork is excellent. Now, you can go through, if you're on the fence, if you want to know exactly how the game works, which I don't. All I know is a couple mechanics based on what I saw on the Kickstarter page. You can go through and read the rules all the way through until you fully understand how the game works, right? So if you're on the fence, highly recommend that you do that. But great job on the rule book here. It looks really nice. An overview, excellent. I'm not going to watch that now, but overviews are fantastic. Gameplay, Rise of Tribes, excellent. So you have options here to watch videos to see how the game is played, right? That is very important. So a lot of backers, I'm sure, will come in, they'll look at what I looked at and say, wow, this looks cool. I like that. Yeah, the mechanic looks cool, moving the dice. The artwork looks good. If they scroll down here, they can now watch some videos to see exactly how it plays, to see if it's something for you. Now we're getting into double your tribes. It looks like they just added that if you want 2 games. Leader powers. So it looks like it's been designed with beginner and advanced players in mind. So the unique powers are optional. I would start the game using those, and there's no doubt in my mind. But to make it a little less complex, you can do it without it, it looks like. And now we've got some reviews. Ito's game previews. Now previews, if you watch a preview, you got to remember that the reviewer is paid to do that, right? So previews do not mean as much as an actual independent review. So they've got him saying here, this is a tight, fun, mid-family weight, with enough teeth in there for more experienced players. So that tells me it might not be as complex or meaty as some gamers might want. But it looks like he liked it. But again, it's a preview, so somebody paid for that, paid this reviewer to do a video. And so you got to remember that. You got to take that with a grain of salt. Undead Viking, one of my favorites, a review. So this says review. So, I'm not sure if Lance gets paid for that or not. But, if you know Lance, he will go into lots of detail and talk about a game very in depth for a long period of time. So, and if you like Lance, that's something you probably want to watch to really hear him talk about all the different aspects of the game as he goes through it. Rise of Tribes preview by Man vs. Meeple. These guys do a fantastic job with their previews. They will really walk you through the whole game, how it works, so you'll really get a great understanding of how the game works to see if it's something that you would like. But again, this is a preview. That means they paid Man vs. Meeple to do this video. Rise of Power, Game Boy Geek. We all love Game Boy Geek. He'll do the same thing. He will, walk you through the game and show you how it's played. But again, it's a preview. Somebody paid the Game Boy Geek to do this video. Bauer's Game Corner, a review. This says review. So I think hopefully, since it doesn't say preview, if it's an actual review, there should not be any money that changes hands. So if you are media, if you're doing board game reviews and or board game previews, and if you're taking money, you should be calling it a preview, not a review. If you're not taking money, you can call it a review and give your honest opinion. All right. That is very important. You really should not be calling something a review if you're taking money for it. So hopefully that's the case here. Hopefully that's a real review. Rise of Tribes preview. I don't know who they are, but it looks like they've got another preview video here as well. So lots of review. They say reviews, but most of these, except from what I can see, 2 of them, that's a preview. This says review. This says preview. This says preview. This says review. And this says preview. So it says reviews, but with the exception of 2 of them, they're all previews. So this publisher paid those those media folks to do an overview of the game, which is good. It really will let you see a wide variety of the game from different angles and different points of view, and it can probably really help you determine whether it's a game you will like or not. But as far as actual reviews goes, I don't know. I would have to watch those two that are called reviews and see what they say. That's always a risk, right? The game could come out and people might end up hating it for whatever reason, or it doesn't matter if people hate it. What matters is if you like it, right? So if you could get a game that you end up not liking, that's a risk you're going to take. But there's enough information on this page to help you determine whether you think it's something you would like or not. Written reviews. So hopefully these written reviews are something that are not paid for. My first thought, this game would be far too light, but after only the first 2 or 3 playthroughs, I soon realized there was a lot of hidden depth to Rise of Tribes. While the game is simple to learn, there are meaty strategic decisions that must be made. All of our games were close matches, and the dice movement mechanic really required players to think a few steps ahead. And then they've got stretch goals. So you can see how they're all unlocked here. Saber-toothed tiger, all this unlocked. They've made a lot of money. So they're adding lots of stuff in as they bring more money in. Looks like they're pushing for 300,000 now. 4-player tribes and invaders will be all unique meeples is the next one. They have social goals to get people to do, different, Facebook and Twitter and, photography, taking photos in nature, that kind of stuff. That's kind of interesting. Number of backers, BBG subscribers. So that's all really good, cool social goals that they have that can push the game further. And there's photo examples, getting people to take photos in different spots. So they're doing a lot of great social media stuff with their project. This project is really well done. Their shipping costs, very, very good. $5 for the U.S. and the United Kingdom, $10 for Canada and Australia, $14 for parts of Europe, and $19 for the rest of the world. Those are really great shipping prices. So they're going to be paying some in for that. Add $2 for the deluxe edition. They've got a retailer special, and they've got about including the whole team involved with this. So they got a lot of people working on this project. And they're going to be using backer kit at the end. So that's my first kind of walkthrough on this new series where we look at Kickstarter projects, and Rise of Tribes looks pretty dang good to me. I'm not gonna back it. I want to play it first. I was really like the look of that mechanic, that dice mechanic. I love the artwork. It looks really great. But do I really care if I don't get these promo tiles? No, I don't really care. I'm going to read some of those reviews that were posted. I've got 3 days to think about this. And if not, if it does come out and people really like it, I can get a copy then, or even wait for a second edition. So this is something that looks fantastic. There's a lot to learn from this project. If you're going to be kickstarting your own project, there's a lot you can learn here. Lots of things are done very well. This is a good example of the right way to do a Kickstarter project. Breaking Games, good job. This is an excellent first project for you, and you clearly have put a lot of work into this. So hopefully, by talking about this project and walking through stuff, even the fact that I wanted to click on this. Why did I want to click on this as opposed to all the other tabletop games that were out there? I kind of went to tabletop games, And then I sorted on popularity. That showed me the most popular games. Now, Deception is going to be great, but, like I said, I already work with Gray Fog, so I can pick up a copy of that without much trouble at all. But of these 6 games, this isn't really in my wheelhouse. This looked good to me. The artwork did not grab me at all. I kind of, that's a personal thing, maybe. I really hate this cartoony looking style. It's not something I want to have on my shelf, so I kind of ignored that. And this, didn't really grab my, the photo of just the dice on the thing. Saga World Builder, it just didn't. It could be great. I might go in and look at it later. Modular tiles for tabletop and D&D games. Okay, now I know what it is. They're creating tiles where you can put maps together. So that, for somebody who's into role playing, that's an excellent product, but not something I'd be interested in. But when I first looked at this page, I didn't even dig down. The image didn't let me even dig down into what it was. Now that I've read it, I see, yeah, that makes sense. That looks like a cool product. It's not something I would need, though. Down here, the artwork looks great here, but I don't know. It looks like, I don't know if that's a photograph or actual artwork. It didn't grab me, so I didn't dig any deeper into that. So this is the one I clicked on. This one out of those 6 looked the best to me, and I clicked on it, and that is what brought me here. And I went through the whole page, and now it's something I'm going to watch. So I'm going to click Remind Me. So at 48 hours, when this project has 48 hours to go, they will send me an email, and I may back it at the end of this project. So that's why you see a huge influx of backers in the last 48 hours on projects. And I expect this one, with that much money already, they're going to have a huge bump at the end. Because for every backer that they have, they probably have a backer that clicked save, right? They didn't want to commit right then. They just wanted to say, this looks good. I'm going to save this. And when they get that email, they're going to come back, and a lot of those people are going to back it. So that number is going to grow. So that's what I've done. So that's it. I hope this was helpful for both backers and for project creators. Hopefully I've touched on some of the things I liked, some of the things I didn't like, kind of show you my train of thought as I'm looking through projects and determining what I would like to back. All right. Thanks for watching. This is Robert. Bye.